For people to see my reign as Miss Universe and to really connect to that theme of giving back and contributing to the community through the work of collaborating with organizations, it means so much to me because that's what I wanted to achieve this year. I wanted to bring out a message during my whole year that promoted positivity, that I always contributed and created awareness and educated. That's what made my year successful in my eyes. And I hope that people will remember me by that.
Magbigay.
Stepping into my next chapter after passing on the Miss Universe title, I had a very different outlook to what this year would look like. My vision board was filled with projects, travels, and pursuits, but 2020 took a different turn. I've come to realize that we have a tendency to place conditions on the right time to give. When I've achieved this or reached a certain point, then I'll finally get more involved with that charity or I'll finally be able to donate. But as 2020 unfolded, my conditions when it came to giving were challenged. The thought of giving during a season of lack was an uncomfortable one. But I quickly realized that through helping another, through my outreach programs or charity work, I was also helping myself.
Naniniwala akong hindi ako nag-iisa sa karanasang ito. Lahat tayo, ano man ang pinagdaanan natin, ay may mabuting natatanggap sa pamamagitan ng pagbibigay.
Maggabay.
We're all told to take every opportunity to better yourself, to grow, to learn, to gain for ourselves. A dream is always worth fighting for. A voice is always worth raising.
And I really truly believe that's placed in our hearts for a reason. So you need to have faith.
But at the end of the day, we're faced with the question, why? What for?
Na-realize ko na ang tanong na dapat nating sagutin ay, para kanino ba ito? Naniniwala ako na natatagpuan natin ang tunay na layunin sa buhay kapag ang pangsarili nating pangarap ay nakakaroon ng kahulugan sa piling ng ating kapwa.
Magpatuloy.
In lending our hands to help up our neighbors, so that their stories become our stories, so that by sharing their voices, we magnify our own, so that their plights become our plights, their victories become our victories, so that we close the gap between I and them to become we. As long as there remains to be injustice and inequality in the world, our job is never done.
Magbigay.
Because it's what makes it worth being human.
Magkabay.
Because it pays to share it forward.
Magpatuloy.
Because it doesn't end with us.
Buenos dias a todos. Good afternoon to everyone, and good evening, of course, to everyone in the Philippines. My name is Raisa Mabayo from the Cultural Office of the Philippine Embassy here in Spain. And on behalf of the Philippine Ambassador to Spain, His Excellency Philippe Lhuillier, I wish to welcome everyone to this very, very special edition of El Mes Filipino, focusing on Philippine textiles called Reflecting Traditions, Preserving Identities. Philippine Textiles as a medium to promote Philippine culture. El Mes Filipino, or the Philippine Month, is the Embassy's month-long celebration of the 122 years of Philippine independence, and we're doing it through a series of daily online events for the Filipino community and highlighting different aspects of Filipino culture. We, of course, turn our attention this afternoon to a webinar on Philippine textiles. Next year po ang commemoration ng quincentennial of the circumnavigation of the globe. And for most people, especially in the Philippines, we know this as a time when Magellan went to the Philippines and was defeated by Lapu-Lapu, or ang mga tauhan niya. For us here at the Embassy, who are working very hard to promote our culture here in Spain, the quincentennial is an opportunity for discussions about our shared heritage with Spain, about what Spain knows of the Philippines today, about our culture in general, and even our culture before the Spanish arrived. We hope that through these discussions, our audience here in Spain, especially the Filipino community, would have an idea of the enduring, diverse, and very rich culture of our country. Maganda pong maalala natin lahat na ang kasaysayan ng ating bansa at ang ating identidad bilang mga Pilipino ay hindi nagsimula sa 1521. Our cultures actually predate the name of our country. So one of these enduring Philippine cultures, of course, is Philippine textiles. And this is a pre-colonial culture that has recently found a renaissance in the past few years. Now, we are beyond lucky to have with us today these women who are all not only advocates of Philippine textiles, but are really champions of promoting and preserving our culture, and they do this through different ways. Sustainable entrepreneurship, research, scholarship, and mainstreaming them through fashion. These innovative women are Dr. Marilyn Canta from the UP Department of Art Studies, Ms. Kylie Misa, who's a co-founder of WVN Textiles, and Ms. Ditta Sandico, the pioneering and visionary Filipino designer, and of course, Ms. Catriona Gray, who's Miss Universe 2018 and NCCA Arts Ambassador for 2020, and an advocate of the Philippine textile industry. To give us an idea of what we mean when we say Philippine textiles at ano ba talaga ang kabuluhan ng textiles sa ating kultura, iimbitahan po natin si Dr. Marilyn Kanta.
Okay, magandang tanghali ho sa Espanya at magandang gabi ho sa mga manonood sa Pilipinas. So ang aking presentasyon ngayon ay Hobby at Hibla, Tanda ng Kulturang Filipino. So unang slide, kumari sana. Yung mapa. Before this, Jason. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, mayaman ng Pilipinas sa iba't ibang uri ng hobby. Ika nga, mula apari hanggang holo, may matutunghayan tayong mga halimbawa, inabel, binakol, barong, saya, pinya, patadyong, tinalak, malong. Ngunit, iba-ibang aspeto ng mga hobby ang tinuturing ng mga salitang ito na maaaring tumukoy sa isa sa mga sumusunod. Halimbawa, maaaring material at proseso, maaaring paraan ng paghahabi at paraan ng pagdidisenyo, mga natatanging anyo nito, kanya-kanya mga kasaysayan at yung mga konteksto ng paggamit. Maaring may ekonomiko, praktikal o kultural o simbolikong kahulugan nito. Yan sa halimbawa, pero gaano nga kaugat ang paghahabi sa Pilipinas? Tingnan natin ang ilang halimbawa. No? Sa susunod na slide, sinasabing bago pa man matutunan ng paghahabi, ginamit na ng mga sinaunang Filipino ang mga balat ng puno, no? O bark cloth bilang pananamit. So halimbawa ito, mayroon tayong yung pamukpok, yung bark cloth beater na 1255 pa BCE or before the Common Era na nakita sa Cagayan na nasa National Museum, at may mga actual na halimbawa sa Peabody Museum of Natural History sa Harvard po ito, no? Pero hanggang ngayon makikita natin, no, sa susunod na slide, magpahanggang ngayon, merong mga halimbawa na pa rin ng bark cloth na ginagawa. Halimbawa ito, galing sa mga Tagbanwa sa Palawan. Okay, noong 1966 naman, makikita sa susunod na slide, na itawag pansin sa National Museum ang isang kuweba sa Banton Island, Romblon, kung saan natagpuan ang burial cloth na ito sa isang kabaong. Gawa ito sa abaka. Ang habing ito ay tinuturing sa kasalukuyan bilang pinakamatandang habing ikat sa Timog Silangang Asya. Sa ikat, kinukulayan muna ang mga hiwa-hiwalay na hibla bago ito ihabi. So maraming kultura sa Pilipinas ang gumagamit ng mga death blankets. Hanggang ngayon, patuloy pa rin ang tradisyong ito sa ilang grupong etnolinguistiko. Sa susunod na slides naman, makikita natin ang ilang imahen, mula ito sa Boxer Codex noong 1590. No? So halimbawa ito, may Zambal couple, may Visayan pintados. Sa susunod, may halimbawa ng mga Tagalog, no, yung sa susunod na slide. At saka yung mga Visayas binakol, no? Nakikita natin yung iba't ibang pananamit nila. Pero mapapansin na halimbawa dun sa mga Visayas na nauna na slide, di ba? Tawag sa kanila pintados. So maraming bahagi sa Timog Silangang Asya, no, ginagamit yung tattoo, no, bilang uri ng pananamit. No? Isang paraan ito upang pag-ibahin ang tao sa mga hayop. Ngayon, sa kasalukuyan, sa Tiboli, na makikita yung tinalak. No? Ito ay ang paggamit rin ng ikat. So, ibig sabihin, nakita natin sa Banton, burial cloth, pero yung ikat, ginagamit rin ng mga Tiboli magpahanggang ngayon. Mahalaga ang tinalak sa mga Tiboli bilang pagsasakatawan sa kanilang mitolohiya. Ang mga disenyo raw ay hango sa mga panaginip, no, ng mga manghahabi. Ang babaeng marunong humabi ay kalugod-lugod na asawa, at ginagamit din ang tinalak bilang dowry. So, dowry, mga regalong kailangang ibigay sa pamilya ng lalaki bago sila ikasal. Ang mga sinaunang tinalak ay tinuturong na heirloom. Ibig sabihin, ipinapasa sa mga sunod-sunod na lahi dahil sa angking ganda at kahalagahan. Ngunit ngayon, ang tinalak, no, ay maaaring gamiting material sa paggawa ng iba't ibang produktong pangkomersyal, mga bag, sapatos, tsinelas, pitaka, dekorasyon, etc. No? Sa larawan, makikita rin si Langdulay. No? Isa siyang mga habing Tiboli at gamaba. So sa mga hindi nakakaalam, ang gamaba, ibig sabihin ay gawad manlilikha ng bayan. So ang pagbigay ng gawad na ito ay tumutulong na bigyan pansin ng mga mahuhusay na manlilikha ng mga sining tradisyonal. Sa susunod na slide, makikita halimbawa ang Abel Iloco o Inabel, no? Nagawa sa bulak o mga malabulak na halaman. No? Dati-rati, ang bulak ay ginagamit na gawa, no? Tanim sa Pilipinas, pero ngayon kadalasan yung mga yarns ay inaangkat mula sa China. No? Kilalang Inabel, siguro alam naman ninyo, ang mga iba't ibang disenyo ng kumot at iba pang mga telang gamit sa bahay. Nandito rin ngayon sa larawan si Magdalena Gamayo na isang Gamaba awardee. Siya tinuturuan niya, no, ang mga tao kung paano maghabi. Sa susunod na slide naman, nabanggit niyo yung burial cloths. Kasi pinag-usapan natin sa norte, no? So sa Ilocos, ito naman sa Cordillera, marami pa rin gumagamit ng burial cloths sa ilang grupo, no? Magpahanggang ngayon, at ito ay death blankets. Isang halimbawa ay sa mga Kalinga, tinatawag na binaliwan. Kaya, no, kailangan maingat, no, ano ba yung death blanket, ano ba yung pandekorasyon, no? Tapos sa south naman, sa mga Bogobo, tingnan natin sa susunod na slide, meron silang tinatawag na tangkulo. No, ito ay nasa museo diyan sa Cagayan de Oro. Ito ay tie-dyed, no, o planggi. Sinusuot ito ng mga bagani. Ang bagani ay mga kasama sa warrior class, no? Mga datu o di naman kaya yung mga mas nakakatanda. Ang kulay na pula ay tanda ng tapang. Makikita naman sa susunod na slide, ang bagong uri ng tangkulo na ginagamit naman bilang scarf, no? Okay, so sa next slide, syempre, kilala sa buong bansa ang burda, no? Kadalasan sa pinya o husi. Isa itong industriya mula pa nung panahon ng Kastila, pero hanggang ngayon ay nandyan, no? Sa panyo sa kanan, katangi-tangi, no? Ang paggamit ng hibla ng buhok ng tao bilang sinulid na pamburda. Okay, sa susunod na slide, no, siyempre alam na natin yung barong, no? Pero dito, painting ito ni Simon Flores, no, isang kilalang pintor, noong 1880, na makikita ang lahat ng miyembro ng pamilya na nakasuot ng bordadong tela. Ito ay simbolo ng kanilang nakaaangat na antas sa lipunan. Sa pintura, makikitang kung paanong binigyan ng pintor ng halaga ang kanilang kasuotan. Yung pang susunod na slide, siyempre, kung meron tayong North, Lowland Christian, meron tayong South. Siyempre, kilala ang malong. At ito ay inuugnay sa pananamit ng mga Muslim. Pero hindi lang naman Muslim ang nagsusuot nito. No? At magpahanggang ngayon, sa susunod na slide, makikita natin, suot-suot pa rin nila. No? Pero meron din pang araw-araw na malong na gawa sa mga printed na mga tela. So, ang ating huling slide ay isang slide ni Hilda Cordero Fernando, no? Sa kaugnay sa kanyang proyektong Jamming on an Old Saya na ginawa noong 1995. Nagsimula ito sa pagnanais niyang magamit ang mga lumang terno na nasa kanyang baul. Mula sa paglikha ng mga collage, naging ganap na presentasyon ito at ginawa ding libro. No? Ang mga lumang tela ay nagamit sa paggawa ng mga bagong likha. So ilan lamang ito sa mga halimbawa ng textile sa Pilipinas na may matagal ng pinag-uugutan. Marami tayong nakikitang inisyatiba upang tumuloy o mabigyan ng bagong sigla ang mga ito. Habang di maiiwasan ang pagbabago, sana ay tuluyan pa rin natin makita ang ating mga sarili sa mga hibla ng mga habing ito. Maraming salamat.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kanta. No? I think this presentation really drives home the point na tayo, mga Pilipino, we are a country of weavers from north to south. We're a country of artists and artisans. And ang dami-dami nating pwedeng matutunan at ma-decode sa ating textile industry, no? At sa ating textile heritage. Now, questions will be asked later after the presentation of each of our speakers. But we encourage everyone to please comment your questions below. This is your chance to ask these very, very knowledgeable women about our textiles. Now, thank you so much, Dr. Kanta. And our next speaker, of course, is the visionary and pioneering Miss Ditta Sandico. Hello, ma'am. Welcome to our MS Filipino, and thank you so much for joining us. So
Hi,
now,
Raisa. Thank you for inviting. It's been such a pleasure.
thank you, po. So we will be listening to you as you make your presentation.
Okay, let me start by introducing myself. I've been a designer, a fashion designer for the past 35 years now. And I have developed fabrics like banaca, pinalino, sedalino, and now the Mangyan weavers. So let me show you the slides about the Mangyans on how I really started with the fashion industry. Okay, so this is one of the groups that I've been working with, the Mangyans of Panaytayan, and I started almost like several years ago. I was probably 11 years old when I was introduced to the weaving of the Mangyans. They were my first teachers in this type of craft. And somehow I learned that I had to get back to them after a few years. And now that I'm almost about to retire, I thought to myself, why not? It's a good time to give back to the whole of this community. So slowly, I did get back to them. Like I started last year, and it has been such a wonderful journey with them. I was able to teach them a few crafts like embroidery, some beadwork, and we have recycled beads out of my fabric of banaca. So these are the things that we've been doing so far. And I'm so happy to have really been a part of their team. It's been quite a difficult journey because like going up there to the mountains and then traveling for several hours back and forth, the whole experience made me grow even more with wisdom. I've learned so much from this indigenous tribe, and from them, I think we should really be able to take so much from, because theirs is an originally indigenous tribe, and it's like these people we owe a lot to, especially all these cultural tribes that have been working for us in terms of their fabrics and the crafts that they can make. And this whole team was composed of like 35 women, and they were so enthusiastic in doing things made by hand. So throughout those several months of going back and forth, we were able to come up with some beautiful products, just like this jacket that I made. This is one of their crafts, and I think you'll see more in the many days to come, and the events that we will be having in the future. So welcome to the Nouveau Lifestyle. This is about the new normal. For me, this is the new normal. It has been a difficult time. I mean, I'm sure a lot of the designers have to go through this. And it seems like we really have to recalibrate ourselves. What are we doing right now? What are we making out of ourselves? And I think it's most important now to get back to our culture. And I guess it wasn't it wasn't a misfit, or it wasn't something that wasn't done by our God. I mean, it really happened for a purpose, and that was, for me, it was really going back to who we are, to ourselves, and knowing ourselves much better. It seems like what I'm often asked, what should we be buying nowadays, and what is sustainable fashion in terms of clothing? It's so nice to be part of the fashion industry and to know more about it. But if like, for example, you travel to some place like the in Mindanao or in up north, it's very nice. It's such a good feeling to know more about the fabric, the origin, the people who have crafted this material, like the weavers, and somehow there's a whole story behind the materials that we wear, and that's what makes you even a better person. You become more fulfilled. It's really fulfilling because you can actually tell people about your country and where it's from. So that's what I always tell students or people who I have mentored, even my daughter. I always tell them, please get back to who we are. And that's what will make us proud to be Filipinos.
Thank you
Now,
so Go ahead.
I'm sure now that you're all there watching, it will really make a difference also for us designers, because now I feel it's our time. I mean, all those years that we've worked hard on this and we toiled and we really broke our backs. Sometimes we didn't even have sales in our stores because no one really appreciated what we did. But now I feel that it's our time. Now it's our time to grow, to bloom, to show what we have, to really to have wings to fly. And this is our moment. And as a Filipino, I think this is what makes us proud. Proud to be who we are. One thing else that I've learned about this whole experience so far is that we always have to take care of our craftsmen. We really have to have a good rapport with them and take care of their well-being. And because my approach to this type of work is holistic. I've always I've always treasured organic stuff. I mean, I always appreciated these things because it's always been very dear to my heart. I love nature. I like to go around. I get inspirations from everywhere, and little by little, everything just falls into place. And I think everyone should feel that way. It's such a it's very heartwarming to know these things, and I know everyone can develop that talent too.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's go on. I'd like to talk about trends in fashion, and I think we're always asked about slow fashion versus fast fashion, and what it does to us. For me, slow fashion is this. I mean, it's about learning our culture, and we can. It's about having things done by hand, and items that we can are artisanal. It cannot sometimes takes 2 to 3 months, or maybe let's say 1 month. That's still long. I mean, but there's a price to it, right? Sometimes we just have to pay for it. And if we know these things because of what the whole process goes through, then there's more value to it. And we keep saying, why? What they're always asking, why is it so expensive? Well, there's a whole story behind this whole project, this whole item, and it takes somebody to know what goes through it. I mean, and I think it's for us designers also to initiate this and to make people aware of this of what we do. It's quite a difficult task. And then, well, what about fast fashion? What does it do? I mean, not to poo-poo this whole world of RTW fashion. I mean, it's what they say they're, it's polluting the earth because hundreds and thousands of garbage is made out of ready-to-wear garments. And I think when we purchase something that's dear to our hearts, we just don't throw it away. It's something that we keep near our lives, and even like maybe like I would probably, if I had something from my grandmother, I wouldn't just throw it in the bin, something like that. So I think this is something that we should think about. What about cultural tradition and against brand names? Of course, I'm not saying that we should go all out for just wearing our cultural tradition, but more really have the consciousness to know all about this, to know more about living the conscientious way. I mean, fashion with a conscience. That's what I say. I mean, it's more like, how are we living this life? I mean, I don't think we can go back to the normal, the way we used to. This is actually the nouveau lifestyle. Nouveau lifestyle because it's going back to basics. Almost like saying, okay, what are we supposed to do now? Eat better food, be more conscious of what we're eating. And the lifestyle is a whole movement towards really getting to know ourselves and our country and the people and the world and the universe. So but it all stems from within us. All right. So can we show some of the pictures of what we? Okay, and then we've been having some challenges in the industry, like, for example, how did we face the COVID lockdown? We've had canceled bazaars. The retail stores are not yet open, and they're not operational till now. And of course, unemployment and dealing with how to sustain our employment force. It's rather a difficult path, but we hope that we can somehow even sustain more than what our task or our employment force that we have right now. It's quite daunting, but I know that we can handle this. And what are the solutions? The pictures that you see are my trips abroad, and just to show you what and where we have come, where we were, and where what we're doing now. And if you notice, most of the fabrics I used here were the banaca, banana abaca, and these fabrics are locally made by the weavers of Catanduanes, and somehow it has reached, I'm surprised that it has really gone international. This picture alone was in the Bakushin Museum in Russia, and I was so proud and happy to have represented the Philippines in this very prestigious exhibition of different countries, different people from different countries. This one is modeled by one of the Russian models, and we did have a fashion show last year in Moscow. And here's another one. So going through this whole, this whole process, I think I believe I've come to somehow really showcase the best of the Philippine products. And I'd like to inspire more younger students of fashion, and even people who actually, our clients out there, to keep on patronizing us all throughout these years. I mean, I hope they keep on doing this. So what are our solutions? I'd like to think that we can. The first thing I've done to be able to just somehow work on keeping afloat, I have opened my online digital media platform. So this is looking forward. I always think that we can always take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So somehow technology has gone so far, and we should be able to make use of it. And these are the things that we have to be able to partake in, because really, how are we to make people aware of what we are doing? Also about collaborating with other designers in fashion shows, and being able to present ourselves in the best way that we can. Helping also younger designers startups by mentoring and empowering them to start their own social enterprise. Reflecting traditions, and being able to be proud to buy local. And also creating respectful, ethical, and sustainable work opportunities for our local craftsmen. And I think that's about it.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's been such a treat to see you take us now to your journey behind, because as consumers, we just really see sometimes the end product. We don't see the effort, the hard work that goes into your creations, for example, and everybody's creations in the fashion industry. Especially in your case, for example, I think it bodes well for our textile industry that we have always been along the lines of sustainable fashion. So I think that bodes well for the Philippines and for our designers, since those are luckily the trends these days in the international stage and not just in the Philippines. So
That's true. And thank you so much for inviting.
thank you, ma'am. It's really our pleasure. Right now, we will invite over Miss Kylie Misa from Woven Home Textiles. Hi, Kylie. Oh. Kylie,
Hi, Raisa. Sorry about that. So, magandang gabi po dito sa Pilipinas, and also magandang gabi din, magandang hapon naman dyan sa Espanya, sa mga kababayan natin at sa mga kaibigan na nasa Espanya ngayon. Hello.
all right. So we're Kylie, on your company especially. So let me just get out of your way.
Right. So, ako po si Kylie Misa, and isa akong entrepreneur. I'm one of the co-founders of Woven Home Textiles. I'm very happy to be here, not only because I'm alongside such esteemed names, but also because this webinar encapsulates my journey in starting Woven Home Textiles. Spain holds a very special part in my life because I studied my master's there, and I also have some roots in Spain, and so to me it feels like a second home. And it was also in Spain where I found these Turkish towels, which really inspired me and sparked an interest or an idea to create, instead of Turkish towels, Philippine towels, because I was thinking, I didn't see these kinds of towels at that time in the Philippines, and we had summer we have summer all year long here, and I was wondering why we didn't have that. So that sort of got me thinking, and when I went back home, I decided to discover the Philippines through handcraft, craftsmanship, and my journey really started with weaving. And it's really been an amazing journey because it has brought me to this place right now. And yeah, I'm happy to share my story with you. Today, I was asked to talk about the trends and challenges for small businesses centered on Philippine textile while ensuring the welfare of the weaving community. And I think this is very apt because I was recently part of a research group commissioned by the British Council of the Philippines to gain an understanding of the context of handloom weaving, the industry in the Philippines. And I will be mentioning some of the insights that I found in the research here in my presentation. Let me just share my screen. Okay, one sec. All right. So I'll be talking about sustaining local handloom weaving through responsible entrepreneurship. As I mentioned a while ago, I was part of a group commissioned by the British Council of the Philippines to understand the weaving industry in the Philippines and get the sort of landscape of it all. And this was one of the results of the research, which was really encapsulates what the research is about, which is that the cultural, psychological, and economic dimensions of weaving will always be intertwined. First, I'll talk about the economy part. So the handloom weaving industry in the Philippines is still a cottage industry, but it's long been considered a sunset industry. And in recent years, there has been a renewed interest and demand for artisanal handwoven textiles, which has encouraged weavers to continue or learn the craft. And also there's a demand because many people are interested in the beauty and the design of weaving local weaves. And weaving has become a source of rural employment and income for women. And there are a lot of trends that support this. One of them is globalization. Now that everyone is sort of trading with each other, now there's a bigger market for weaves. We can already trade internationally. We can sell our items internationally. And the second trend really helps this because of digital technology. Because of new technology and the internet, it's significantly easier now to create more sort of like access to products that probably weren't accessible before. And also it's transforming the way people create, produce, and disseminate cultural content and ideas. And then there's, the design and through technology is also really helpful and gives added value to the product. And as well as, learning skills, upgrading can also happen online as well. And we're seeing that now in COVID, where people are tuning in. There are so many free webinars hosted by many organizations, whether government, NGOs, businesses, and there's a lot of ways where people can learn from each other, and technology really helps there. The second trend is in sustainability. This presents an opportunity for traditional hand-woven textiles because many of them are produced sustainably through, no use of any machines. Everything is done by hand, and a lot of our indigenous groups actually use natural dyes and cotton and all of these organic local organic materials, which is actually something that's become very popular abroad. But I think it's also about time that we go back to this. And then the next trend is on supporting local, because today there's, as I mentioned a while ago, there's renewed interest in handicrafts and weaving especially. And now not only do small brand, it's not only small businesses, MSMEs that are part of this. Now bigger brands are actually getting into it, retail brands. So it's a really good mix of retail brands, social entrepreneurs, and even high-end Filipino designers like Ma'am Ditta a while ago, so who are proactively supporting communities. But in my experience, for Woven Home Textiles, we are a women-owned enterprise that works with handloom weaving communities in the Philippines to co-create home and beach products using traditional handloom weaving methods. So this is our items in the Arte Fair, which usually happens every July or August, but because of COVID, and as Ms. Ditta said, a lot of bazaars are canceling because of COVID. This was us during the Habi Fair. This is my business partner and I. My business partner's name is Yvette. And yeah, that's us in one of our Habi fairs. And yes, so it started with a Turkish towel. Our initial product was a Turkish towel, but then it slowly diversified into so many other things because we saw the potential and the beauty of the materials, the design, the material itself, and we were able to sort of transform them into other products. So as you can see in the slide, these are some of the other products that we also have aside from just towels. So culture. So the amazing thing that I found in my experience going around the Philippines to meet weavers is that we have such rich cultural diversity, and the cultural practices and symbols vary in every weaving community. So here you can see, this is taken in La Union. I think it's interesting. I think we know of the same weavers. If you noticed in the videos, some of the weavers are actually the same because it's such a small community of supporters and also a small community of weavers. And it's really nice to see that everyone is sort of supporting an ecosystem. But anyway, so if you see, this is a woman in La Union. The designs in La Union are so different from the designs that say in the Cordilleras or in Lake Cebu, and as you can see, this is Inabel. They call it Inabel. And it's from Ilocos, the Ilocos region, I mean. This is also Inabel. So these are sort of just like, I just wanted to show you some designs that we work with, and also I wanted to show you the comparison also and the contrast of designs in different weaving communities. This is also the weaving center of the late Lang Dulay, whom we all sort of, when we think of Tinalak, Lang Dulay is the first person that we think about, because she was the Gamaba awardee, right? But yeah, so you can see that the weaver, the way even the tools, like a while ago you saw a backstrap. Sorry, not a backstrap. A sort of like a foot loom. I'm sorry, you can't see the whole thing, but she also uses her feet to pedal. And this one is the woman on the left, you can't really see much, but she has the back loom strapped on her. She's the woman towards the back who's she's sort of covered. But you see here in this picture, the women are trying to show us the different processes of how tinalak comes about with the use of abaca. So yeah, you notice that the different the designs are very, very different, and I guess it just further reinforces the idea that our cultural diversity is just so rich and so amazing. And I would really encourage everyone to see the differences, because the handloom weavers in indigenous groups are different from the handloom weavers in the lowlands. And I think it's also quite important to understand that sort of cultural aspect, because that's also when we talk about cultural sensitivity or cultural appropriation, you'll also, when businesses or people who just want to support local, when you buy weaves, they come with a certain cultural appropriation or cultural sensitivity attached to them. Some of them do, some of them probably not as much. And that's why it's important to get to know also the cultural side. And I wanted to say, I'm bringing this up because for Woven, we started because we found out that the younger generation doesn't want to continue the craft any longer. Well, I think it varies again in different communities. I see that in indigenous groups, it's the culture is much stronger there, meaning like the cultural practices are still being practiced until now. Whereas in lowland groups, where it's closer to let's say more industry, more alternative options for work, for development is already there. The younger generation tends to, maybe prefer something that's more, I guess, modern, or maybe they think that weaving isn't a viable livelihood. And for Woven, we kind of want to address that. We were saddened that the younger generation in the communities that we work with don't want to continue anymore. And that's why we actually started Woven. Not because, at first we saw that they were able to do the products that we had in mind, which was the Philippine towels. But more than just that, we were so moved by the story of the weavers that told us this story, that nobody else is, maybe in 10 years this community will be gone because the younger generation doesn't want to inherit the craft. So yeah, we were really moved by that, and we started Woven because we didn't want that to happen, and we wanted to we hope that with what we're doing, we're able to support them and support the preservation of the craft by supporting the weavers. And this brings me to this brings me to my next slide, which is on well-being or empowerment. So I showed this because this was a medical mission that we did in Bangar with the Rotary Club and the municipality of Bangar, the Mayor Joy. We did this last November, and because we wanted, for Woven, we wanted to take care of the people who are making the weaves. We can see that the average age was around 59 years old. And for us, we were really moved to, we couldn't do all of this without them, and they're our biggest asset. So of course, what we want to do is, take care of our asset and make sure, not only because we grew attached to them, we have such good relationships with them. We're not there to just like buy from them. We hang out with them. We're there every month. That's why it's kind of hard for us to be still here in Manila now because of COVID, and we couldn't see them for the past 3 months. Because what we really, at the core of our business, are the weavers, and so that's why we want to ensure their well-being. And in the British Council report or research, what we found was, as both the bearer and the successor of handloom weaving traditions, weavers are the major determinant of the success of the industry. I mean, if you think about it, without the weavers, there would be no handloom weaving, right? Because they're the crafters. They make it by hand, and it's important that we understand this, and we don't see, the weaving industry as just or the weavers as a cog in the supply chain. Their lives are significantly affected by the industry movements that may be out of their control. And it's people like, the people who collaborate with them. It's the designers, the entrepreneurs, the business men and women who work with them. And it's also the people who buy from them that affect also, how they see themselves. Do they have, for woven, we believe in human dignity. And for us, we want to give that to them through weaving, and hopefully more and more we see that with other businesses and entrepreneurs and people who support local. I can go on and on. Oh, sorry. I'll just quickly go through. This was one of our photos in the medical mission. Okay. In well-being. So before I veer away from this topic, I really, really love this picture. I really wanted to show this with you because we work with different weaving communities in La Union and in Cavite, and now more and more in Albay. And this is a photo of one of our weavers in La Union and one of our weavers in Cavite. And us unknowingly, one of our weaver from La Union actually visited one of our weavers in Cavite without us knowing. And, they spent time together. They talked to each other. They consulted with each other. They learned from each other. And it was such an inspiring moment. And they sent a picture to us to show that they were together. It was just so inspiring because that's what we mean by empowerment, right? Like, and well-being. We want them to enjoy what they do, to find purpose in what they do, and also to learn, for it to be a learning experience. And it's not, it doesn't stop in just weaving. It's about also like the total human experience. And this is such a great photo that I want to share. So hello to Ate Bubut and Ate Loida. All right, so now that we're in this topic of well-being, I just wanted to share with you what's going on with the weavers, at least that we work with during this time of COVID. So, a lot of the weavers are old, as I mentioned. The average age is around 59 years old. So because of the strict quarantine measures, they're not able to go out. They can't go to the palenque. They can't go to the bank or to get money or to send orders, even if there are some orders coming in. And so, with what we're trying to do here is we're trying to, first of all, help them. As I mentioned, their health and well-being is number one to us. So what we did in the beginning was we sent them soap and preventive measures in the very beginning. That was like March or early April, where we sent preventive measures, soap, in order to sort of help them sort of understand what's going on. How can you protect yourselves? You are at the end of the day going to be the one that will hold your health in your hands, literally. So we started with that. And then later on, we just ended a crowdfunding campaign, which sort of tries to get people to help us get nutrition kits for our artisan partners. in La Union, in Cavite, and in Albay, so that to help them in addressing short to long-term nutrition needs. So we're about to send them. Actually, we're super busy now trying to figure that out, like the logistics of it. But we're sending them seeds for sustainability. We don't know how long we're going to be on, if how long the impact will be. So if they can plant seeds that are good for immunity, are indigenous, local, that would really help them get by. And because in in the rural areas, there's a lot of natural remedies being used, and we talked to a doctor. What do you call this? Doctor para sa shocks. I'm sorry, I forgot the names, but they're practically doctors who go to the rural communities and they stay with them for a while. So we consulted with them for this, and so they also told us that turmeric would be good. So we sent them turmeric powder, and we also gave them arroz caldo, sort of food packs to help with any immediate needs. And what they're doing now also to adapt to what's going on with COVID is to now they're also pivoting, and they're seeing that masks are something that that's been in a way like needed and also popular now. So they got into masks very early on, actually. And if I'm not mistaken, the different weavers making masks. So now you see also that the weavers have to pivot as well, and it's going to be very difficult for all of us, especially for them. And what message I want to leave with all of you is, we need to take into consideration when working with the weaving industry, the economic, the cultural, and the well-being side of dimensions of it. But also, like, you as a someone who can support, you have the power to continue to sustain the handloom weaving industry with us. It's not just the weavers, it's not just the business owners or fashion designers, it's everyone. Everyone needs to work together, and hopefully at the end of the day it will be the core why we want to help is because of for the well-being of the weaving communities that we are supporting. So support local. This is the best that we can all do at this time, this very trying time because of COVID. Again, like your support and your purchase is very important, especially now that everyone is having a hard time. And also, please follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We would love to chat with you to also somehow find a way to support the weavers with you. So thank you very, very much. And that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Kylie, and thank you for showing us how you guys do it. I believe, and really, like, this is for me the future of our industry. What you're doing and ensuring that you guys are finding a reason for the next generation to continue with the traditions of their elders. So I'm very, very hopeful, and the other thing I'm hopeful about is that I really think that your company is representative of the trend that's happening in the Philippines now. And really, it's fantastic. Same as the people we interviewed about Philippine tattoos. The hope for the continuation of these cultures really are people like you who take your time to make sure that you're doing these things right. And we're very, very glad and we're very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
So right now, of course, we're going to invite Miss Universe 2018, the NCCA Arts Ambassador for 2020, and an advocate for the Philippine textile industry, Miss Catriona Gray.
to the land of dreamweavers! I've always had this certain reverence for Mindanao. I've always wanted to go and experience the culture firsthand because it's somewhere I'd never been before. And to see that culture and that tradition has been passed down and is being kept to this day in such good condition, it makes you feel really hopeful.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Miss Raisa.
Hi, Catriona. Thank you so much for being here with us. When we first started conceiving of these projects, we really thought of you because everybody saw how you made it very accessible. Our textile industry, you brought it to an international stage. You made it accessible, but at the same time really elegant. And if I may borrow a word that you used before, very aspirational. So that balance of accessibility and aspirational is, something you did very, very effectively. You're welcome. Happy to. Could you tell us about your journey? Why the interest in Philippine textiles?
Yes, first up, I want to give a small shout out to everyone watching, our friends from Spain and also here in the Philippines and anywhere else in the world that are joining us here on live. We're so happy to have you here learning about our culture of the Philippines through our beautiful fabrics and textiles. I myself grew up without any knowledge on the topic, to be honest. And it was really a journey of discovery for me. And that was a journey that I wanted to share to either my fellow Filipinos or maybe our OFWs, our second generation Filipinos, or anyone really who would find interest in the beauty of our unique culture. So when it came to my journey to represent the Philippines, it meant a lot to me that I should embody it in all aspects. And I feel like one of the most accessible of those is fashion. And I feel because it is a way that we express ourselves, our personality. And I really wanted to not only wear something beautiful, but also learn the story behind it. So my team and I, we traveled to different parts of the Philippines. I traveled to Mindanao, South Cotabato, and also went to Tacloban, and also to Pampanga and here in Metro Manila, and wanted to actually make paalam or get the blessing and learn about the textiles made by the tribes that I were to use in my national costume, because it meant a lot to me that to represent not only accurately the actual patterns that were showcased in my national costume that you can see on the screen, but to also make sure that I was wearing it right. As Miss Kylie mentioned earlier, it's very important because it is so steeped in culture and tradition, to pay the respect to our tribes themselves or ethno-linguistic groups, to make sure that I'm wearing the fabric or representing the fabric in a way that is proper or pays respect to the fabric. Because many of these beautiful weaves, especially Tinalak, is quite spiritual and there's a lot of tradition in it. And so I wanted to be respectful in it. So we went and we discovered, it was a discovery for me because this was something that I had never really learned about before. I saw how it was made, from the materials that were taken from the plants itself, how they dyed it, what the different colors represented, and then the weaving process itself. And I was really in awe. As Miss Ditta mentioned earlier, what gives more beauty or more value to our fabrics is really the stories that they tell. One, that they're so unique to the Philippines that you can't see them anywhere else in the world. And that's why it was really important to me to really share it on the world or universe stage when I competed, because in a way I wanted to invite other people in to discover also for themselves the beauty of Filipino textile. So it was something that I really grew passionate about. And so through learning this, I really collaborated with designers. I wanted to explore the different cloths, the different origins, and really incorporate it in a very modern way, because I feel like it made it relatable to my audience and my platform. And what was a really meaningful experience for me is that when I was competing overseas, of course, I was joined by 120 different countries. And so even the girls themselves, when I would wear one of the fabrics in
in one of my daily wears, they would actually approach me and be like, wow, what is this? I've never seen this before. And I felt a lot of pride in being able to explain and really allow them to learn about our culture of the Philippines through fashion. And so that's really where my journey was born from. And of course, in learning the stories of these communities, knowing how it provides livelihood, especially for Filipino women, I really became passionate about the cause. And that's why I'm an advocate to this day.
Thank you very much, Catriona. And I just find it also like it seems to be a trend among a lot of the children, Filipino children born from the diaspora, for example, to gravitate towards these kinds of cultures. As somebody who's been working in promoting Philippine culture, for example, we are always looking for ways to attract these young Filipinos towards attract them back home and to make our culture seem appealing to them. And sometimes the thing that breaks our hearts is when people say that wala tayong kultura. Like the Philippines is like a new country, walang culture. And then there's this, And oftentimes it takes people like you and people who have been abroad and then who go back home to really see the value of these kinds of traditions that we have. Why do you think that is?
I really feel like it's something to be discovered. It's something to behold. Beauty is to be beholded, no? But I feel like what adds value to this certain aspect of this beautiful thing of our culture is the story behind it. That it's so heavily steeped in our traditions, in our history, our pre-colonial history as Filipinos. So it's uniquely ours. And just to see the love, the care, the focus, the effort that goes into creating these beautiful cloths. And to see the symbolism that it may have. Each one is different, has a different use, has a different representation. That really adds a story. It adds the story of the Filipino. And that's why I know that Miss Ditta was saying earlier that the pieces have so much value that we would hope to see them as a timeless piece. And that's why I really love the avenue of fashion to really showcase our culture in this way. And I feel like the new generation, especially me, I speak from my personal experience because it was something that I did learn and I did discover, was just that it was something I had never seen before. And in a way, it felt like discovering it for myself. And then to hear the stories of the communities and just to really learn about it and how unique it was to us. It really just captured me. It enchanted me, and which is why even throughout my reign after I won, I still continue to always try and give our fabrics that spotlight, because it is my hope also that not just as Filipinos, but even international audiences will grow to admire and then elevate the Filipino craft as something to aspire to, as something to hold in reverence and something to really treasure. And I hope that that also will trickle down to the actual communities that create it and hopefully add value to the actual craft. Because that as Miss Kylie was just saying, that's the sad part, to find that it in many ways is a dying craft. And of course, we want to do everything that we can to prevent that from happening. And I feel that is really in elevating our perspective and our perception of our crafts and showing it that it is something to aspire to. It is something that is worthy of international recognition. It is something to celebrate the Filipino in this way.
Thank you, and that's really something I fully agree with. It's at first it really is a discovery of your own culture, and I hope that everybody would have like the same perseverance in really looking for or seeing for the first time, or seeing like as if for the first time these really unique aspects of our culture. And I'm really glad that we have somebody like you who's championing not only textiles but of course our culture. It's I think really it's a beautiful day for Philippine culture.
Thank you. In a way, I feel very lucky because it's almost like I really want to invite my audience to discover with me. And I feel that that's where the storytelling can kind of unfold because I'm coming to the perspective almost with fresh eyes because I grew up as a mixed heritage. And so my Filipino roots and background were something that I really embraced as I matured into adulthood and from a child. And so I really took that childlike wonder when I discovered it for myself, and that's why through my platform, through videos, through my reign and post reign, I always try and give an avenue to be able to share these things in hopes that people will have the same experience as me and fall in love.
Yeah. I think it's even more than like aside from you being, as mixed heritage, as you mentioned, a lot of our people living, whether in the Philippines or abroad, also are not aware that we have these. And really, that's what we're doing now. We're hoping that it's a step. It's the first step towards people's discovery of this particular culture of ours.
Yeah.
Before we ask everybody, one last question for you. What do you think is the future of our Philippine textiles, and or what makes you feel hopeful about our textile industry?
I feel like it's a very interesting time. As one of our speakers said earlier, I feel like the spotlight has really been given to Filipino textiles, to our crafts, and I think that's a very beautiful thing. But it also intercedes with what we're facing now as a world with the pandemic. And I hope that going forward, moving forward, we will hold a lot of value to supporting local. Because Ms. Kylie was saying, it is so important for us to really give back to our nation and to support our communities because this is livelihood. The craft of making something uniquely Filipino that preserves our culture, that is created from our stories, that is steeped down in tradition and through generations is something to be treasured. And I hope that going forward, we will all turn our eyes to those communities and hopefully be able to allow them to preserve this beautiful work of art for future generations to really behold, preserve, and celebrate. And I really hope that the future for our textiles will have it being seen as an internationally recognized and celebrated craft, where people from all different countries, not just OFWs, not just those with Filipino heritage, will really behold the wonder and the beauty of it. Not just the beauty of the physical, but also to behold the beauty in the story of it, the Filipino stories of the communities, of the weavers themselves, of all of the designers, the visionaries, and everyone who really allows this craft to be the beauty that it is. I really hope that it'll be recognized as it deserves to be on the world stage.
Thank you so much, Catriona, and I absolutely agree. Right now, we would like to invite everybody back onto our virtual stage, and we're hoping that everybody has a conversation because it's hello po, hello to everyone.
Everyone. I really enjoyed listening to all of your talks, kanina. I really learned so much also, and I feel like from my perspective po, it's something that we should encourage the learning about the whole process from Miss Marilyn touching on the history of our textiles from how many generations ago leading up to now, and Miss Kylie with your entrepreneurship and business, Miss Ditta with the vision. With the everything that's going on, and I see lots of people are commenting, how can we support? Could you give a few examples of how our viewers and our audience today could really participate in supporting our communities?
Go ahead, Ms. Ditta.
You're
I think
muted. Ay, sorry po, Miss Tita. Naka-mute po.
Unmute po.
Ayan.
Yeah, I'd like to answer that question by saying, like now, I realize that we really have to level up our game plan because now we really have to get into the technology that's there in front of us. So I'm using I'm getting it online, and I'm going digital. I think that's one way of reaching our market out there. Since the lockdown, I've been home most of the time. I'm so glad I have my boutique right beside me. And I've been working for almost like 2 weeks now, and I've just started. I've had my website for so long, but I was never really upfront and personal with my clients because I relied on walk-in um, people to come in. But I'm like, hello, I really have to be out there and talk to my friends, to the people who want my clothes. I mean, my clients, the customers who are there, and it really makes a difference because you can actually do it. I mean, I've never done it before, but now I'm learning. So it's a whole new world. It's really a whole new world.
Yes, well, I agree.
I mean, the media is so powerful nowadays. It's just
Yeah,
amazing.
that's very true. Miss Kylie, I would actually like to ask also po, knowing that weavers take time to create their cloth, it can take up to 2 days or even more for more intricate designs. How do we to say that the demand would increase and people would want to purchase more woven textiles? How do we make sure that it's a sustainable program, that our weavers are not overloaded, that they are still able to produce beautiful cloth the traditional way, but also be able to meet a certain amount of demand?
So on our end, I think how we do it is we put the weavers at the core of our business, and that means that we always consult with them. It should always be a consultative process, and we never push them beyond what they cannot do, because first of all, they're not machines that can go over time.
Exactly.
They usually work from home. They take care of their family, and they have other responsibilities also. And so in that way, people must understand, when supporting weavers or when working with weaving communities, the context also of where they come from. And that's always what we have in mind every time. We really try to respect that. And I think, to your question also in the beginning, about how we can support continuously, and sustainably, I think, like, they say weaving is a living tradition, and I really, we want we why we have, it's because you live in it, and you live with it. And yeah, so you need to support them even in your own home, even if it's pillowcases, or aside from the fashion, you really, it's a day-to-day thing. And I think more and more we should strive to support local in that sense.
Yeah, to support them and represent in our everyday life. I really agree on that.
I think so. Can I say something? One thing else.
Of course.
Again, going back to new lifestyle, nouveau lifestyle, we have to have them in our own homes, just like Kylie what said. It's really creating a new lifestyle for all of us, and supporting, and thereby supporting these local products, local weavers, the craftsmen, and all those who are out there trying to make a living for themselves. So this is one way of creating sustainability in the whole country.
Yes, I agree. We actually have a comment from our Facebook from Mikhail de Jos. And Miss Marilyn, I feel like you could speak on this. It's asking, can our resource speakers tell us more about what makes Philippine textiles so unique and what sets our other traditions apart from those around the region and world?
The way I look at it now, so each particular country or region has its own particularities, not their own specifics. So everything is kind of unique, no? There might be similarities coming from a tradition, a common tradition, let's say, for example, the Southeast Asian tradition, but there are fine, perhaps, differences, no? Say, for example, ikat, the weaving of the dyeing of the threads before you weave it, that comes in many many traditions, but there are things that are different from the ikat of the Philippines, from that of say India or that of Indonesia. So I think it's not really like trying to compete with the others in terms of this, but to appreciate what each particular culture has.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, to appreciate and also celebrate what we all uniquely have. I agree.
Can I say something about that again?
Yes, po.
Yeah. Okay. I personally believe that each fabric has its own character. And when it comes to the banaca fabric that I've been using for the past 20 years, it has its own personality. It doesn't act the way normal hand-woven fabrics or normal fabrics work. Even if you compare it with linen or silk or cotton, uh, banaca has its own structure. It sculpts itself. So when you wear it, it really like it makes you look different. I mean, it has its own statement. So that's what I feel proud about. It never can. I mean, you'll never see any of these fabrics anywhere. So I think it's a totally unique product, and I'm so proud of that. I think we all should.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I actually want to raise something because during my travels to Indonesia and Thailand on their national Thai Day, everyone would make an effort to wear Thai silk or Thai products. And in Indonesia, they had Batik Day where they would all don their traditional batik. Would you think that that would be something reasonable or something we could possibly embody in the Philippines?
I don't think. I mean, I think it's possible. I mean, definitely, there should be a way, and because we have really such rich fabrics, just like pinya, abaca, our local cottons, we have silk, and I think all these things have to be upfront. We really have to show them and uh, be able to uh, bring them about in so many ways in our own traditions. So uh, for us to be able to keep pushing forward, I would think, I think it can really be part of our lifestyle. I mean, it used to be worn by our grandparents almost every day in their everyday lives. It's just that we have somehow erased this. I mean, the lifestyle that we used to have. I mean, because we've looked into the different countries. I mean, we've been brainwashed to wear clothes. I mean, like R2W, offer that, and make it easier for life to just be born. But there's shit here.
Mm-mm.
I don't
I'd
know.
like to add also. It seems also that when we wear our traditional or like our local weaves, and let's say like local costume, it's usually ceremonial. Like it's not a day-to-day thing. And like as I remember as a kid, going to school, I would wear, the Maria Clara Barot Saya ganon during Linggo ng Wika every August, if I'm not mistaken. So as kids, it was like, it was something that you had to do in a way in school, and then when you get out of school, you wear, your barong only in weddings and special occasions. It would be nice if we could, continue to wear these hand-woven products even, on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah,
I'd also like to, and I think with what Catriona has said about batik being like the Indonesian fabric, and then you have a silk being the Thai fabric. I think for the longest time for the Philippines, it has been pinya seda, no? And the wearing of barongs and all of that, and that's I think the parallelism with those national wear. But I also think that when Filipino business people and designers started going beyond pinya, that's when the creativity and the renaissance happened. So, as always in the Philippines, we're a very, very diverse culture, and when you start going outside of what has been the mainstream for so long, we really discover that we're so diverse, and it's an interesting one.
Yes, definitely. Oh, we have a question here from our Facebook, from Amusing Silver. As NCCI ambassador, what are your plans to further promote Philippine textile and Philippine culture? I suppose that's directed to me. Thank you for your question, Amusing. I'm actually starting a show in partnership with the National Commission of Culture and the Arts called Cultura 101. And I'm positioned not really as an expert, but more as a student, because it is something that I am constantly learning about, and I hope to take you all on the journey with me to learn about different aspects of our culture, really paying reference and respect to the traditional roots, but also seeing how we can apply, just as we're all talking about here in our everyday lives, to make it something that we're able to really sustain and show our pride through those different things. So please keep an eye out for that. I definitely want to continue on our talking point that we were just on before that, because there is also an interesting complexity in integrating it into our everyday life. Because just as Miss Kylie, you mentioned earlier that there are certain cultural standards or guidelines or references that we need to also be aware of in the wearing of the certain fabric, whether it's appropriate to be worn a certain way. I know that there are some fabrics that should not be near the foot or the bottom of the foot, as it pays disrespect to it, like the tinalak. So how would you propose that we educate people also about the right way of paying respect to the weaves themselves as well as wearing them?
Well, from personal experience, it's really about talking to the makers. It's not just about just purchase and go. It's really about getting to know also what you purchase, because I mean, first and foremost, the value of it's handmade, and also, like as everyone mentioned, it's a bit more expensive, right? But that's why it's important to really understand what you're purchasing and who you're getting it from. And in that interaction, hopefully, you can also ask about how you to properly use the fabric that you just bought. And many of the times, like there are instances of cultural misappropriation. It's just really a matter of more education, not only from the side of like us as consumers, but hopefully, like what you said about NCCA, coming up with an educational program on cultural, culture 101 or weaving 101, and hopefully there's more instructional or educational material about this, and it becomes more mainstream also, so that it's not just an academic thing or idea or concept that's very distant from us. It's something that becomes more like a lifestyle thing. Yeah, relatable.
I definitely agree.
Can I just add also a little? Well, of course, culture is not stagnant, right? Changes. For example, if tinalak was considered sacred cloth, maybe it's not, but now we use it for making shoes or for making bags. So, I mean, how will the sacred aspect come into this? So, in other words, there must be some adjustment to the culture for them to be able to accept that the products are used in such a manner. No, and it takes some time, no? And for example, I see Kylie wearing a tangkulo. So the tangkulo, for example, used for baganis, for warrior tasks. Like even among the Bagobo now, the young ones, if they start to wear a traditional tangkulo, people would like they would mock them. Uy, nagsusuot siya ng tangkulo. Eh kasi alam nila, para lang dun sa mga warriors yon, sa tattoos, sa mga elders. Yeah. Pero if it's probably worn in that way as a scarf, there must have been some adjustment. No? Actually, this is an issue which has been going on a long time. No? This whole idea about copyrighting traditional culture, but it hasn't like really spun off really. Of course, a copyright kasi may ownership eh. So, yung buong culture ba mag-own on? How does it work? So actually, we don't know, no? I mean, it's it's in the, I think it's in the World Trade Organization. This whole idea of, copywriting culture, but somehow it
Yeah.
hasn't happened here, and so people are kind of appropriating things, no? And eventually they get to accept it. For example, I mean, not only textiles. Ito ba yung sa New Zealand, it's the waka ba? The waka? That dance,
Yes.
dance,
The waka waka.
Yeah.
Maori ritual, but now they're doing it in football games.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it has changed, and people have actually adjusted and managed to accept it, even among the people who technically own that tradition.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah, you raise a very, very good point. I think it's
Actually,
just a
Miss Marilyn,
Mhm.
sorry, I just wanted to ask also, like, do you like? Does that mean like because you said that culture evolves as
Yes.
time goes on,
Right.
and when working with weaving communities, whether indigenous or not, um, thus creating, like, let's say, a new product, like there always has to be consultation, right? They have to be the ones to
Yes.
you can't force it on them, right?
Yes.
It has to be that they've accept they are the ones who say yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. I agree with that. No, it's
So like
good
in product
to them.
development,
Yeah.
there needs to be yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those are very interesting points, Dr. Kanta, because always know the word of the day in a lot of our practices is cultural appropriation, and a lot of times, of course, it has merit. But as you've mentioned, it's a great thing to remember that for a lot of cultures to survive, for a lot of cultural practices to survive, they had to adapt throughout time. So I'm sure that what we see now in certain practices wouldn't be the same as they were 500 years ago, for example.
No.
So yeah, maybe we are, yes, ma'am.
Can I say something about that too? When it comes to fabrics, I mean, just like what we're doing now with what materials or what products we're using, what we're making out of. Instead of just using them for clothes, we also make bags and accessories. So we end up cutting these fabrics, and we have to make it marketable. The idea is for us to be able to design new things so that people will appreciate it. Even the youth, the millennials, who are going to come into fore, and they will be the ones to be setting the trends. They will showcase this beautiful craft, and they have to be proud of it. And if we decide to keep up with what was there, it doesn't change. I mean, we have to keep moving. We have to keep innovating. We have to keep on trying new things, and that's the only way to keep up with fashion. I mean, we just, I mean, it's sad, but the thing is, that's how we market trends, and we have to go with the flow.
So I think we are our 1 hour webinar has become 1 hour and 30 minutes. And I'm really, really grateful to everyone for the time that you took for sharing your insights, your knowledge, which, these are things that you've worked very hard for throughout your careers. And, there's a lot of hope for how we promote our culture. And really, in the DFA, for example, we always talk about what is the Philippine brand. And I think really that this is something that could play a huge part in the development of our brand, because everything is so on trend. It hits right into the sustainable fashion concept. It's a slow fashion. It's environmentally friendly. They're detailed and beautiful, and they have stories that go back hundreds and hundreds of years. So yeah, it's staring us right in the face now, and we really couldn't be happier that we have people like Kylie Misa, Miss Ditta, and of course Andrea, who have always advocated for the preservation and the promotion of this particular cultural house. And everyone, thank you really from, on behalf of the embassy. It's such a gift from everyone. And I am, as always, humbled by all of our resource leaders. And really, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rita. Thank you to the Philippine Embassy of Spain, to all of our viewers who tuned in to learn with us and to join us today, this afternoon, tonight, whatever time it is where you are. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Kylie. Thank you, Raisa.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm learning a lot from all of you. Thank you. And thank you to everyone.
Just make a plug. Can I ask the viewers to check out my website, Ditta Channel? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.